Good day, class. For today, we will be talking about how will you make your research title. Now, before we proceed to our formal discussion, I'd like to inform you that this fourth quarter will be more intensive because we will be doing a lot of work with regards to your research paper, especially that we are already formulating our topic that we will be using for the rest of the semester. Okay? So, how do you make your research title? First, a part of a research title has the following information: the subject matter or topic to be investigated, which answers the question what, and the place or locale where the research will be conducted, the population or respondents, and the time period of the study during which the data are collected. So, basically, it answers what will be your topic about. For example, you're going to study the stress levels of senior high school students from Infant Jesus Academy school year 2020 2021. Now, if you're going to have that title, the subject matter is the stress level, the place or locale, Infant Jesus Academy. Who will be the respondent? Senior high school students, and the time period, school year 2020 2021. So, let's look at these following examples. The subject matter, teaching instruction of English, the place or locale, in the high schools of Province A, time period during the school year 1989 to 1990, population, students, and teachers. So, with that, you have your title, the teaching instruction of English in high schools of Province A during the school year 1989 to 1990, as perceived by the teacher and student. Then, let's look at the example below. You can see here in the example above that everything was correct. Okay? However, in the example below, there is somewhat an erroneous part. First, let's try to read the title without considering itong subject matter, population, place, and time. Halimbawa, wala yung mga yan. So, if that would be the case, the effects of mobile gaming to the academic performance of senior high school students at the Department of Education during the first semester, school year 2018 to 2019. So, if that's the case, there's something wrong with this title. Why? Is it the subject matter? No, because it directly says or states what the topic will be about. So this is a check. Population, senior high school students, place or local, Department of Education. Now, here is my concern with this title. It's okay to use this, however, it's going to need more intensive work. You did not it must not specified Department of Education in what level? National, regional, or in terms of division schools per local government. However, even if it is in a regional or national setting, it will be more extensive because, for example, in a regional setting, let's say in Region 3, lahat ng public schools under DepEd doon ay bibigyan nyo ng bibigyan nyo sila ng questionnaire. You're going to get respondents from all the schools in Region 3. That is too intensive, diba? That's too broad. So, in making a research title, you must make sure it's very specific. Especially in your case, in your senior high school years, it must be very specific, all right? Then, there are certain rules in how you choose your research topic. So, number one is the interest in your subject. You must show interest in a certain area in order for you to have more drive and motivation to pursue the studies. There are going to be concerns with regards to pursuing a certain topic that you are not interested in because you would somehow end up being in a dilemma of why you want to pursue this. Okay? Then there's the availability of information because this information will serve as evidence to support your claims about your subject from varied forms of literature such as books, journals, and newspapers, among others, and is a part and parcel of any research work. So, what do you need to include in the investigation of the available materials? You must have an update and authority of the materials, meaning if you're going to use a certain text or citation from a certain author, you must cite it. You must put references. You do not simply make it a point na ka-copy-paste nyo lang. Remember, that is why Miss Main taught you earlier how to do citation, how to paraphrase, how to summarize, to give due credit to the authors of the literature you will be using. Okay? Then copyright dates of the materials, are they new or are they old? In this if this is the case, it's most likely that you need to check whether the materials you have are the most recent and updated. In our case, Clasco, we will be using literature that goes 5 years back from this year. So if it's 2023, magbibilang tayo 5 years of 2023. Ay, sorry, 2022 rather. 2021, 2020, 2018, 2019. Ay, sorry, 2019, 2018. Now, we will start from year 2018 going to 2022 for us to see the most updated references. Okay, so starting year 2018, yun po ang gagamitin natin na references. Now, in some cases, depending on the orientation of the school and the professor on research, there are some exemptions wherein the institution allows 10 years. But in my case, 5 years po tayo. Alright? Now, also, in choosing a research topic, you must make sure that the authors are experts or they are qualified in writing the reading materials that about your topic. Now, would you believe would you believe an article published by a pilot about effective ways in administering medication? Or would you believe a nurse by profession who wrote an article on effective ways in strengthening the foundation or the structural foundation of your house? Di ba hindi? You would go to an engineer and to an architect on that. And in the case of the health professionals, in administering medication, pupunta ka talaga sa health professionals. So you have to be very careful also with the sources that you are reading. Okay? Next, timeliness and relevance of the topic. How relevant is your topic? Is it significant to today's society? Because it must show results that will be useful. Also, it must relate to the present. Unless you're doing a historical research such as studying the life works of Rizal. For example lang naman. So that would be historical. You're going to study the life and journeys of or the narrative reports of our national heroes. That's an exemption. However, your research topic must be relevant to today's society. Why will you still research about something that has already been resolved in the past? 'Di ba? Unless a new problem from that past has risen or or has resurfaced, 'di ba? Next, you must consider putting limitations on the subject. Why? Remember, I've mentioned earlier that it must be specific and not broad. So, in the case that you are going to discuss the topics with your group mates, you must put limitations. Why po, sir? Para saan po ba yan? I've noticed some of your submissions, for example, the stress of senior high school students amidst the pandemic ju- in online classes. So, senior high school students lang nakalagay. It's too broad. Senior high school students from which school? 'Di ba? You need to specify. And kung stress levels lang ang pinag-uusapan nyo, you will not go with other variables such as for example motivation, anxiety, dahil stress levels lang naman ang pinag-uusapan nyo. So you need to put limitations. Alright? And since you are divided sa senior high school per strand, focus on topics that are aligned with your strand. If nasa UMS ka, pang UMS na topic ang kuhain mo. If nasa STEM ka, pang STEM. If nasa ABM ka, pang ABM. Alright? Number 5, personal resources. Do an assessment with regard to your resources in terms of finances, availability of your materials, your health condition, mental capacity, facilities, time, or your timetable. All of these are part of your personal resources. Must make sure that these resources are fit and you are able to meet the demands of the research paper or topic that you want to pursue in terms of your personal resources. If alam mo hindi mo magagawa because you have no facilities, etc., then why pursue it? Diba? You're going to end up making inaccurate data. Next, sources of research topic, there's mass media communication, such, such as the press or newspapers, advertisements, TV, radio, films, etc. Sir, paano po naging source ng research topic ang advertisements, TV, and radio, and films? For example na lang, in the case of ABM strands, for example, marketing strategies, paano minamarket yung gantong ad, yung film, etc. Or in the event of listening to a radio or a TV show, there are renowned experts or professionals giving a speech about certain topics. If that's the case, then it can be considered. Ba? Newspapers, not all the parts in the newspaper, mostly what we will be going to to take note of are the articles. However, editorial page is not considered valid. Why? Because it's just simply or merely an opinion of the writer. Unlike sa articles, these are reported. For example, DepEd declares that teachers are stressed. For example lang naman. So, if that's the case, there's an institution declaring that nireport lang naman yung article. Hindi naman nagbigay lang ng opinion. Si journal, si, si journalist or si author. Alright? Then, you have your books, internet, peer-reviewed journals, and government publications. So, these sources of topic are essential, especially that these websites actually are helpful. So, in your EAPP, you most likely have discussed the credible sources of information such as websites ending in .org, .edu, .gov because these websites are professional websites. Okay? The government will not post fake news naman, 'di ba? Even schools. And in terms of .org, these professional organizations, for example, the Philippine Nurses Association, Philippines Women's Desk, or yung mga advocates, Philippine Animal, yung PAWS, for example, Philippine Animal Welfare Society. Or for instance, companies. For example, San Miguel Pure Foods is a subsidiary of San Miguel Corporation. We all know the San Miguel Corporation is one of the biggest companies in the Philippines and they specialize sa beer pa lang nung simula. They have acquired Pure Foods and it's now San Miguel Foods Incorporated. Ngayon, what if San Miguel Foods Incorporated posted an article on marketing vegan options to Filipinos? Is that credible? Yes, it is because these are professionals already in the field. Okay? So for instance naman, let's say for example, Mr. Cruz is the CEO of Samsung. For example lang to ha, and Samsung. They're going to release a new tablet. Now, once the tablet was released, a lot of people were buying it. And for example, Jana bought the tablet. She is a blogger. On the other hand, Maureen bought also a tablet who happens to be an electronic engineer. Now, who would you listen more to the review? Jana, the blogger, or Maureen, the electric engineer? Of course, or sorry, electronics engineer. Of course, you'd opt to listen to Maureen more because she knows her stuff. She knows the specs, etc. And it's part of her profession. 'Di ba? That is more reliable. Alright? So you have to be very careful in evaluating the sources. Now, for example, Wikipedia and blogs are not valid sources of information. All right? Because these are edited and this can be opinionated. And remember, we need objectivity in our research paper. All right? Then you have your professional periodicals. For example, College English, Language Teaching Forum, English Forum, The Economist, Academia, Business Circle, Law Review, etc. All of these are basically periodicals or online journals. Because this journal is like as a library or a compilation of all researches. Na kaya may kita kayo minsan sa internet, for example, Journal of Social Sciences, Volume 1, Volume 2, pages 44 to 51 because yung mga gano'n kaya may pages. For example, ito yung page na pinublish ni Miss Santos, for example. So, ayun yung research ni Miss Santos, 47 to 51. And in the other pages are also other researches published. Okay? So, please double check everything. Then, yeah, general periodicals as well, such as magazines. And then your previous reading assignments. Remember, a good research topic can come from reading. From especially when you read, you're able to encounter different information, and this information will be your basis in creating your research topic. Alright? And lastly, work experience and or observations. Nothing beats a keen observation of a researcher. So, what you observe, you can counter check it with articles online to make your premise more valid. and credible when you start your research topic. All right? So, should you have any questions or clarifications, please do not hesitate to message our group chat so we can have further discussions with the rest of the group in our GCs. All right, so that's it. Have a nice day, everyone, and stay safe.